Welcome to Yisrael Thrive. I'm Shayna and Netanya.
Hi, everyone.
Oh, are we still hearing the theme song?
Where thriving is our resilience, and I'm Jenn Hayes.
Wonderful.
Oh, are we still hearing the theme song? That's me. Sorry. Where thriving is our resilience. That was me.
Great.
Sorry.
Wonderful. Well, no worries. It's good to know it's not on my end. That's the only thing I was worrying about. Like, is that me? We are still getting this show off the ground, so I thank everyone for being so patient with us as we go through all of these little things. But I want to say thank you for joining us this week, especially because of all of the things the Jewish community has had to hold. I want to leave some space for all of the terrible events that have happened this Hanukkah over in places like Bondi. And of course, us American, Zionist Jews, we send all of our love to all of our mishpocha in Bondi and around the world that's hurting right now. But in addition to that, also there was a few people killed at Brown University when there was a shooter, right, Jenn?
Yes. Right near Providence or in Providence, Rhode Island. And then unfortunately, there was another incident in Brookline, Massachusetts, concerning an MIT professor as well.
Wow. So it really feels like this week, it's sort of getting out of control. And this week, I think, I'm sorry?
And Ron, too, is still not with us. He's still being held captive.
That's true. That's a very good point. Ron Gavili is still being held. His body is still being held in Gaza, despite this, quote, ceasefire we're supposed to be having, right? Which, if we're all being honest, Hamas has already violated the ceasefire many, many times. And so there has been no stop to this war.
No, none. Just lots of thoughts and prayers being sent our way.
Oh, always thoughts and prayers, right? So tired of all the thoughts and prayers.
The emotions. I'm sure many of you have also felt like being on an emotional roller coaster. 1 minute I am angry. The next minute I'm feeling despair, but then I feel not giving up. And I'm sure a lot of us are feeling these same emotions after this horrific week. And my body just physically cannot cry anymore. I don't think I have any more tears left. And I'm sure a lot of us feel that same way.
Oh, of course. The body can only hold so much trauma. As someone that works in behavioral health, it is so important to try to process that. And I am someone that does not like to feel, feelings like sadness. And so if you're someone out there that's like me, that feels uncomfortable with feeling, feelings of anger or sadness or any kind of negative emotions, because we live in a culture that really at times can push some toxic positivity on us, I want to give all of you space and permission to feel your feelings as they're coming. For this night of Hanukkah, yes, it is the darkest night. Yes, it is our responsibility to spread that light, but do so in a way that honors what you're feeling and honors where you're at. So, Jenn, what has been your rose and thorn for this week?
Exactly. And for anybody, for the audience. So I'll start off with my thorns. A thorn for this week, I'm sure many of you have seen my videos that I've posted this week about the anti-Semitic attack that my mom had to deal with. She's 75 and she was at a arts and crafts class. And this space is part of the, adult services center. And they rent out a space at a particular church in the community. And it happened on the day of my aunt's birthday. My aunt Tanya, unfortunately, was taken from us during the Holocaust. So this day is very heavy for us in our family. And for some reason, my mom told me, she goes, Jen, I saw so many people just doing Christmas decorations. And she said, for some reason, just something told me, make a menorah. I'm just going to do it. And she made this menorah. She sent me the picture. And it was a lovely message to receive from my mom. And then I get the phone call that this retired pastor from this particular church said to her, oh, you're Jewish. I'm just going to call you the Jew. And then went on this whole tirade. And I want to say the outpouring of the community for my mom and myself has been incredibly amazing. And the rose this week is that we have been contacted by the reverend of that church, and they have stated that they are going to fully investigate and in 24 hours, provide information on the 4 requests that I had asked. And I think that shows the urgency, and it just made me feel really good that we spoke up and something is going to happen. We didn't hide behind that. So it was a thorn. We do have a rose at the end. And lastly, my rose of the week. I teach students who mostly come from the Dominican Republic, and I teach English. And they were asking me about my Hanukkah sweater and, my sunglasses, my menorah glasses. And my co-teacher was like, Jen, you want to do a little lesson? And I did. I brought my menorah in. I brought in some grape juice, and I brought in challah. And we learned about the history of Hanukkah. And they got to hear me say the prayer over the menorah and over the grape juice wine and the challah. And they had such a great time. And they were so curious, and they were so respectful. And it just gave me so much joy and so much spark. And I just want to say it was just absolutely incredible. And it was like a great cultural exchange. It was just amazing.
And and I think that's a great lesson too for those of us that can sometimes think, oh, the entire world hates us, that no, that's a grounding moment to say not literally everyone hates us. It can feel that way, and those feelings are valid. But just as you stated, kids are honest. Like you've said on past broadcasts before. Kids are honest. They're going to tell you exactly what they think. And instead of reacting with some kind of, hatred they had learned maybe from their peers or their family, they reacted with curiosity. And I think that's beautiful. And it really speaks to the nature of innocence in the soul of a child. And I'm going to use that to lead into my rose and thorn for the week. My thorn was Matilda B. I have always been really affected by children losing their lives. I'm a stage 3 cancer survivor. And back then when I was 32 years old, all I could think of was how unfair it was that I got to live to 32, and yet there were children that did not, that also had cancer. And it brings back similar feelings now with the Bibas, brothers and their entire family, and now with Matilda. I just keep asking myself, when will people care about Jewish children dying? Because our lives matter too. And I feel very passionate about this. But for the rose, it is moving me not into depression and stagnation, but moving me into action. I intend to join your group on Emissary4All and to start, speaking up on more missions. I'm also getting more involved with other members of our community to help get some messaging out there to counter all of this anti-Zionist narrative and anti-Semitic narrative. So movement and action tends to be my rose.
And I think that's really important that we mention that, we can fall into despair. We can fall into this idea that, I have to keep reminding myself, social media is not the real world, right? And as you said, when you go out in the real world, you are going to find our allies. We are going to find those people. We're going to find those helpers, as Mr. Rogers used to say, and the outpouring of non-Jewish community members and allies since this week has just been incredible. And I'm reading the comments right now when Phyllis saying, I believe that Matilda's murder has ignited the world against Jew hate. And I'm really hoping that this is a movement. This is the revolution, that Matilda's memory is that revolution that's going to spark.
Exactly.
And that is the light that we're going shining. Exactly. 100%. I'm actually thinking my next tattoo is going to be in memorial for Matilda, a little bumblebee. I think that is just a great way to memorialize and to remember her. And I could start crying right now. I'm sure a lot of us could be crying right now, but I keep thinking about Matilda and I keep thinking about that last picture. And yes, it breaks my heart, but that joy that she has, I'm going to be that goofy person. I am going to be wearing these. I am going to be wearing, my ridiculous outfits because I'm going to celebrate and be joyful because she can't. And I think we need to remember that it can be so depressing and dark, but we are more than just our suffering. We are more than just the tragedies that define our existence here. We are light.
Exactly. 100%.
And no matter what, anything small that you do doesn't matter. Even if you just wake up and you just say, hi, Hashem, or you light the candle, any little thing that you do is resistance and bringing joy. And I just keep saying that to myself, that every little bit helps.
Exactly.
So this is a great segue. So our guest, his name is Aaron Herman, and I have received a message a few months back from him, and he messaged me saying that he's a board member and a co-founder of Emissary. The app is called Emissary4All, so there is a difference in the title here, and it's a nonprofit tech platform uniting the Jewish and non-Jewish community to empower voices, reach swayables. I like that phrase, to reach the swayables. I think that's great. And to mobilize on social media. And I'm so excited to have him on here today and to share about how we can take our grief or our joy and how we can take that into an action. What can we do to bring more peace and love into our world? So this is a great honor.
Yes, without any further ado, let's bring on Aaron Herman from Emissary4All. Thank you so much, Aaron.
Thank you so much for having me. I first want to say happy Hanukkah to you. And the last couple of days, Jennifer, when I've been just seeing the videos that you've been posting, it's like it's this emotional kind of roller coaster, right? Between Bondi and then when the things that you're talking about, your mother, it was just like, this is why we need to do something and we need to unite on one network, right? And if we work together in a coordinated way, we can do amazing things, right? And we talked a lot about like what can we do, what missions can we start doing on like with your cohort on Emissary, but I'd like to go back and about like what are we exactly doing, right? And it goes back to something really two buckets, right? Now, there's combating anti-Semitism, and I had these things from UJA Federation of New York and Stand With Us. You get saying anti-Semitism is on the rise. What do we do, right? Now, we like to say anti-Semitism isn't new, right? But social media has changed the game in so many different ways, especially after October 7th, right? But there's really two buckets here, right? There's combating anti-Semitism, right? And then there's pro-Semitism, Jewish joy and resilience, right? Mm-hmm. Now, you can't always combat. Like, it's important. You have to be able to. You have to defend the narrative, right? But you also have to, like, take your, in sort of like the Hanukkah thing, take your ner tamid, your light, right? Take your light and show it bright, right? And when Emissary was created, the idea was really to unite the Jewish non-Jewish community on this one network. To be able
That's amazing. Aaron, if I can ask, when was Emissary4All created?
Sure. So, this is actually the first time I'm telling like the full like story. This is actually
okay. Gotcha. Sorry about that.
Yeah. So basically, so I live in Westchester, New York, right? And I got a call October 9th, 2023 from my good friend Daniel Rosen. And he says, Aaron, me and my wife came up with this big idea of social media warriors, right? And I've been in the social media space since 2000, keyboard warrior, social media warriors, not new terms for me, but there's been a recalibration after October 7th, right? Of who wants to do something. You need to do something. And so Daniel and I started to build a team of entrepreneurs, and we formed a nonprofit called Minds and Hearts, right? With the idea of, again, putting the Jewish and non-Jewish community all together on one network, but around campaigns and missions, right? So do you remember like in the beginning of the war when Hamas said Israel bombed Shifa Hospital, but it was actually Islamic Jihad, and then it took Israel 4 hours to say it wasn't them, and then by then we lost the narrative, right? But imagine we had, let's say, Minds and Hearts built like 10 years ago. We had like groups of hundreds of thousands of people who are saying, we're going to sell it, we're going to give the truth. And they would go to TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Fox, whatever, in real time in the comment section, truth. Instead of saying false, you can actually hack the algorithm. So we're in Westchester, right? Trying to, and we didn't have any product. We were just sharing the big idea of one network, right? Going to conservative and reform and Orthodox synagogues. And they're like, we're in. We're like, okay, we're going to have our product. Then went to like Jewish day schools, Orthodox and progressive schools. They're like, we're in. And then one of our board members, this guy, Sandy Cardin, told us about this group in Minnesota. And it was led by David Burton and David Crystal, who are leaders in the Minnesota community. And they created Emissary, right? And so we're here in Westchester, and they're in Minnesota, and they had a product already in market, which was a social aggregation of like vetted posts from social media, and it's incredible AI, right? That it was trained using, ADL, AJC, curated content. So it's like ChatGPT, but for like to combat anti-Semitism and for this Jewish joyness. And so they're here, we're here, and then we decided a year ago to merge. And so we're in Emissary, Inspiring Minds and Hearts to combat anti-Semitism, and it's led by the lead emissary is Ken Greer. And so as a board member of Emissary, we it's one of those things where we're just so excited to be able to even have this conversation. When I DM'd you, right, and I saw your content, I was like, I need you in my movement, right? And so with the opportunity, and I said like, the fact that like David Crystal and Dave Burton were here in Minnesota, and Daniel and myself were here in Westchester, and we were able to come together, like to really be there for the community, right? It's been a privilege, and we're so proud to be able to help, bring this big idea to the masses. And
so, could you share people?
I'd like to give people a kind of a view of what they see when they first log into the app.
Yes.
So when I first logged into the app, this is what I see. So looking at this, Aaron, where do people start?
So it's really up to this is sort of like your choose your own adventure, right? So as I mentioned, when we merged, right, we helped bring the methodology of the connect feature, which is the group formation, which Jenn now has defend the narrative. But there's like those three options, right? So you have the today feature, which is the curated content.
Yes.
That's every day, twice a day, that content is updated. So we have a professional that's like, we have someone that's looking at what's like the right things to share with the larger community, from influencers, from organizations, from just like interesting content that should be sort of brought to the community at large. But the beauty is, like, let's say you don't have social media. Like, my dad's not on social media, but he just wants to he's still reading. So you can either just take it all in, right? Or then if you want to connect your socials, you can connect your socials and then share what you feel. That's in the today. And then with the connect, the idea was groups, right? Now, community organizing and technology, right? We merge that, right? And so the idea is, it's like WhatsApp on steroids, right? And so when you join a connect group, like, you know, defending the narrative, like, you know, both of you will have the opportunity to pick the missions that you want to do for your community, or pick missions that we have curated. We have a full-time person that's working on mission curation and management. So you have sort of whatever you feel is appropriate for your community. And it's one of those things where we're seeing people, you know, once we share this big idea, like, why has this not been created, right? Like, why is it not already? You have organizations that have been around for like years and years and years, but here's the truth: is that nobody was really focusing on social media, which is kind of crazy, right? Like, we heard that from a number of people and funders. Like you have, like, these organizations that have been around for a number of years do incredible work, but they are outgunned on social media.
Aaron, I wanted to ask you a question. What kind of missions can folks do on Emissary4All?
So I'll give you an example of real time. So even Jenn's story about her mother, right? That is a mission, right? We need to share like that to the masses. So she has her incredible platform, right? But imagine we are able to grow that in an organic way, right? So her story about her mother, right? We're telling people, you need to share this, you need to like it, but we can also track it, right? Meaning that, like, when someone, after they do it, they come back to the Emissary app and they say mark complete, right? And so let's say you're in her group and you haven't done it yet, and she'll be like, come on, like, because she can see everyone in her group of who did the mission or not. And so it's like a little bit peer pressure, right? A little bit, and there's going to be gamification,
but in a good way,
in a great way, because you're joining her group for a reason, right? And so I'm in a lot of like WhatsApp groups, right? And I'm like, I turn it off after a certain point because it's too much, and you don't actually know how successful you are, right, in said mission. With Emissary, within the Connect feature, you're able to track sort of your success. That's like so in Jenn's case, there's like, that was in an anti-Semitic situation, right? But I saw this incredible video of this of the jelly donut from Israel, right? That was like, they put shawarma in it. It was a jelly donut shawarma, right? And I'm a foodie, right? And I was like, oh my God, that's just brilliant, right? So again, because it's combating anti-Semitism, right? And then there's that Jewish joy and resilience. I went to this lighting in my community. I live in White Plains, and I went to the Chabad of White Plains lighting. I shared, I wrote an article, and then I did a video. But like, that's the pro-Semitism from that, like what the rabbis like were talking to me about, and saying like, I didn't know this, like 50 years ago, the menorah was actually like, it was more like a hidden thing in houses. And the Lubavitcher Rebbe said, like, we need to take this menorah and put it out front, right? And show the world, to be the light, right?
I just read that story today, actually.
Right. And I didn't know. And I was like,
same here.
Right. And just after Bondi, it's like hearing that. And I shared you the video also of like this woman after the horrific terrorist attack. She was a Chabad emissary as well, and she turned off her light in front of her house because her kids said, turn off the menorah. And she said, as a mother, I did it, right? But as a Chabad emissary, I didn't want to. And then a Christian couple came by and saw that the light was off because they had their light on since October 7th, the menorah on. And then this Christian couple said like, oh my God, they're turning off their menorahs, right? And then at the end, she's like, we're never turning off our menorahs ever again. And it's like, oh, and I watched that video, like, for me as a reminder, like, just like share the light, right? So when you have to fight, and when you got to show the light, show the light. And so that's where Emissary comes in to do what you think is appropriate. And I want to share.
And I have to say the interface. Oh, sorry. I just want to say doing the missions is so easy to do as well. I mean, the whole thing is not time consuming at all. It really, like, some of the missions are just take 30 seconds or a minute to do, and you did something, you know, and you can track and you can see. And it's empowering because you might think, oh, what can I do? I'm just sitting here at home. But like, no, there are things that you can do in this moment. Sharing joy, if that's the avenue you want to take that day, or you want to fight, with the anti-Semitism, you can go down that route, but it's in this one place that you can find everything. And as you can say, you can kind of figure out that algorithm for that day or how you're feeling, which avenue do you want to go, but it's in one centralized location, and it's vetted. There's people working on there that are not going to be putting false narratives on there. And it's just really empowering.
Yeah, I like that also as a creator too, that I didn't realize that when I was seeing those the articles that they were all vetted. And so I can, as a creator now, I have more of an idea. Okay, I can go in there, I can take a look at some of these things that the community is talking about. Which one do I want to boost?
Yeah, I like to say it's like it's this open tent, right? And so if we can do this in the right way, it's very powerful. And especially now, like, one of the other tools is the AI, right? And I'm gonna share with you a personal story. I like to say I'm not only a board member, but I'm a user, right? So I have a son and he's 13. And a couple months ago, he was at this place called Rock and Jump. It's a trampoline place, and he was wearing his yarmulke. And he's a proud Jew, and he's with my parents. And he got surrounded by these high school kids because he was wearing his yarmulke. And they said, are you pro-Israel or pro-Palestine? And he did the right thing, and he walked away. And as they walked away, they went, Zionist, Zionist, Zionist. At that point, my 12-year-old, right? And he came home, and he was shook, right? And so I took out my Emissary app, and I went into the Ask Emissary, the AI, and I plugged in what happened, right? And I said, how do I talk to my 12-year-old about this? And it quickly, in 3 seconds, a little short, it told me how to talk to him. And I said, go deeper. I said, tell your son to be a proud Jew and don't take off his yarmulke. You're not getting that from ChatGPT. You're not getting it from Claude. It's because it's its own LLM. It was trained to be your friend in this time. And so you have a suite of tools to really help you and empower you through this time. So if it's from today, getting that curated content, if it's the connect, joining a group and being that digital activist, or using the AI, the Ask, to really be your buddy. You see something on TikTok and be like, what is, like, oh my God, like, what is that? They can actually create like a boilerplate of like how to respond. So it's really
that's amazing, because I've heard a lot of I've heard a lot of feedback from Jews that may kind of live in either the middle of nowhere or not traditionally safe areas for Jews to be in, actually saying that exact thing, that they don't really feel like they have any other Jewish friends. And so I like how you position that the AI in there, it can be your Jewish friend, and it's trained to support you as a Jewish person.
Right. And I haven't been in high school in a long time, and I sat down with high school kids in the Bronx.
I'm there every day.
Right. And so we actually have a number of high schools that are going to be coming onto the Connect feature. So we have several high schools in the New York, New Jersey area that are going to be coming online to be part of this movement. And so when I was sitting down talking to these high school kids, they were saying this. I said, like, listen, we're getting killed on TikTok, right? They're just getting killed. They don't know what to do. And they said, like, now I have a tool to actually talk to. Like, some people talk to their friends about this, some people don't. But now they have this opportunity. And so through the like Connect feature, just to understand like how this works, is you have a champion and then you have an emissary, right? So like Jenn and yourself could be the champions of defending the narrative, and you're responsible for the emissaries within you. And so there's a group chat to talk you through, like, with your group, and you have like the tracking, so you can see who did this or whatever, and then you have your content. So this is really, I like to say, it's a full 360 of an experience for empowerment, inspiration, and then mobilization. And that's what's missing, honestly, in this, because everything is disjointed. And when, something stayed with me, Jenn, when we talked originally, was that you said you have a lot of creator friends, right? And you feel like you need somebody to help like organize, right? And so the idea is that Emissary can be that, right? Emissary is that hub. It's totally free. There is no cost, right? What we're trying to do is create this hub for creators, individuals, organizations, to come together and work together in a coordinated way. And so this is the opportunity that we're seeing in real time, and we're filling the void.
Wonderful. This hits the nail on the head about talking about a creator hub. I also wanted to add about making this a bigger tent for people. I know from my experience, I don't want to speak for other Jewish content creators. Shayna, you might have the same experience, but Instagram has very limited things. You can only collaborate with 5 people. Right. You know, you can only tag certain amount of people. Right now, I am restricted to only using 5 hashtags. You know, you have these stupid restrictions and, you know, what on and so forth. And what I'm hoping is, or what I envision is that having a mission put out, that means more content creators can be part of it. And instead of just, okay, we're capping it at 5, you know, collaborations. That's what Instagram says. No, now we can say, here's a mission. Everybody's sharing this particular post, this particular reel, and this is what the message we're trying to get out. And that brings so many more people in. And we don't have, well, sorry, I only, you know, you didn't get me at the right time, or someone else had, you know, said yes to this collaboration. Sorry. No, now here's a way that everybody can participate. And I think for me, that is like a huge component for this app. So, you know, my page is called Defending the Narrative, because we need to start defending our own narrative. I'm tired of other people talking over us and talking about us. We're here in the room. We all have our voices. I don't understand why you need to come in front of us and tell our story, you know? So if you are interested, I am in, you know, defending the narrative, but you can also create your own, you know, if there's something in your own community. And how do we find your room?
If we were to join in, how would we find your room?
So it's very easy. Once you download the app. Yeah. So Jenn, you whatever. So you can go on Emissary4All.
Yeah, you just download the app and connect.
Right. Yeah, and then once you download it, you go to connect, and then you're going to see Defending the Narrative. So Jenn's group is open, and we start. It's that easy. It's a free app, Emissary4All, and it's one of those things where, at least for us, we knew that this was something that you see people's eyes open wide. I know the first time that we spoke to like communities, it was like, oh my God, like this is what I want. Like I could be on my couch, I could be at work, and it takes like 3 seconds, like click, boom, you know?
There's no excuses.
I was in synagogue on Saturday, and there's this really incredible person named Jonathan Donath, and he created this thing called Daily Giving. And it's like $1 a day to different, you know, and he just did a TED talk, right? But he needed a boost. He needed a boost to be like, to share. I'm like, I'll help you, whatever you need. Right. And it's so like, and again, that goes like even to like he talked about how his journey of creating Daily Giving, like was like the amazingness. He's now over $10 million he's giving to charities. And it was just a big idea of like $1 a day, or people just giving $1 a day on through the platform. But he did this incredible TED talk, but he needed like a social force to like help to like share it. And so we can help create that. Right. And I think that's the exciting part, going back to like working together in a coordinated way and going back to that inspiration and empowerment. Mm-hmm. And 100%. I think because especially now, that's what we need. Right. Like it feels like every day there's something else in our news feeds. Right.
Absolutely.
And so through the efforts of our community, we believe we can make that difference together.
Absolutely. What have been some of the largest successes that Emissary has had?
Yes.
So we've been successful in bringing people out. We were asked for bring out to like rallies, even like, so we're social media focused, but there's some missions that can be offline, bringing people to like rallies. We had a couple of rallies in New York over the last year, signing petitions. We got asked to help with a petition that was like they need to get to like 1,000 like signers within the like a couple hours, and be able to activate the network to get to that over 1,000 signers with our
That's
with
amazing.
our help, right? It's the power of the social force, right?
Yeah.
And so, just as another example is, you know,
Incredible.
this situation unfortunately happened last year in New Jersey of Dr. Moshe Glick, where, you know, he was trying to save literally a Jewish life during an event that happened when anti-Israel protesters were attacking literally Jews in front of an Orthodox shul, right? And he stepped in to save a Jew, and now he's getting, you know, unfortunately, this anti-Israel protester pressed charges against him. And so
this is insane. When you told us about that, I could not believe it. They were attacking this poor old man just trying to go to shul.
Right, they're at an event, and he stepped in to literally save this person's life, and did what he had to do to get him off. And then, you know, unfortunately, the way that the system is rigged, you have CARE that's funding, you know, these types of initiatives, and so, you know, however we can help, and even telling you the story was just helpful, that, you know, that a lot of people don't know the story and don't know about the FACE Act, right? You know, and that there's something on the books that, you know, there's a federal law that you cannot incite, intimidate, you know, people in their house of worship institutions, medical institutions, from 1994, right?
And this should be, and why aren't they like actually pressing charges using this FACE Act? So this is gonna, when you shared this with me, Aaron, I'm like, it enraged me even more, because that just proves that authorities are specifically not pressing charges when it comes to Jews, which has also been my experience too. When I was assaulted here in Oakland, California, the cops did very little. They did not press it as a hate crime. They did not press it even as an assault charge, but as a robbery, which is not what it was, you know, and they never took it to the district attorney's office. So I can say that there is an institutional bias against us Jews.
Right. And it was interesting. So I spoke to police officers actually on Thursday about this, because I was curious. Also, I'm new to this. I didn't know about this act. And what I learned was, when it comes down to, and I guess it's city by city, but until they take out a machete and if they say globalized intifada, until they take out a machete, they can't do anything. Like that's when it becomes like an act of violence. If saying the globalized intifada, they can't do anything under free speech, right? When they take bats out, when they take machetes out, that's when they could arrest. But once they arrest somebody, it's still like a local thing. Then they can enact the FACE Act, because it's a federal charge. Right, that's what the cop told me on Thursday. Because I went to learn. I was like, because we've seen it. We saw it at Parkey Synagogue like last week or 2 weeks ago. Right, you saw this. It was a nefesh b'nefesh, an aliyah event in a synagogue. Right, like not their place to be. This is our house of worship. Right, like we should be able to be loud and proud and do whatever it is. And you have these protesters. They're paid. Like there's all these, like on Craigslist, it literally says like $60 an hour.
And I'm not sure if you guys even heard about the one in California too. There were 4 little leftist terrorists that were actually arrested. And about 2 weeks ago, they were also in front of a synagogue in Koreatown, not allowing an interfaith event that had both Koreans that were coming to learn about how to keep their communities safe from Jews. And these 4 people that were planning to do some kind of bombing on New Year's Eve in Los Angeles were caught detonating the bombs out in the middle of the desert. So this is where we're at in 2025.
Yeah, and it's going back, is like, you know, why we created Emissary was for the reason of all these things that are happening, right? We all feel like we're all like this disjointedness, right? And if we can create something that inspires and empowers, then we have a chance to like do something pretty amazing, right?
Absolutely.
Like I like to say, like, you know, I was around during the Russian Jewry movement, right? When I was very young, and I saw like my Rabbi Abi Weiss. He led the charge in and it was community organized. This is before social media, right? For a digital world, right? He organized all these people to help the Russian community, and he was successful because he got the power of the people, right?
Yes.
And so that model, right, we want to take into the digital world, right? Absolutely. And Emissary is that hub for hope, inspiration, and empowerment. And through this suite of tools, from today to connect, to ask, this is the way that we need. Like we live on our phones. I just went to a Jerry Seinfeld concert last night, right? And he had this bit about the phone. It's like your phone is you. It's like the phone needs to. It's about like the phone talking to you, right? Yeah. Like we're so connected to our phone that like this connection of like what's next on social media. And when social media was first created, like it was like the like button, it was like this thing where like they actually there's all these studies about like the dopamine that's released when you when you get that like, right? Yep. It's that like, oh my God, like someone's watching this, someone's like, I'm interacting, right? And then with the rise of the influencers, it becomes so much more. So
your ego becomes involved.
Oh my God. It is, because think about it. It's like this is something you're pouring your heart and soul into, even this podcast, right?
Yes.
Your time, your efforts, your resources. And so when you do that, you're waiting for that. Yes, we appreciate you. And we understand. Gary Vaynerchuk, the CEO of VaynerMedia, early investor into Twitter, he says like one piece of content can change your life, but keep on posting.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
And so like I've been a vlogger like before the influencer age. I was like one of the first like Jewish vloggers, like covering Israeli innovation and Jewish pride and innovation and different things. And I always tell people like just do it, just put it out, like get it out there. Don't worry about like the likes and the clicks. Like do it because you love it. Right. And then things will come. Like good things will come.
Exactly.
The
people will come. Do what you love first. The people will come.
Exactly. And that's how we look at Emissary, right? We look at the opportunity to share this big idea with as many different audiences as possible. And for me, at least, we just have a big idea. It's just a big idea. We have to execute on that. And from speaking to high school kids to 85-year-olds, like they're interested, right? I went to the Christian United for Israel summit this year. I got invited. It was a small group of Jewish leaders, and I started speaking to these Christian high school kids, right? It was so inspiring. Like the Christian Zionists, they were like, we're just with you. And they want to actually create a connect group, right?
Awesome. So this goes to show too that Emissary4All is not just for Jews. It's for really anyone that wants to join this movement with us, right?
And that's the awesomeness of it, right? Like that's what we need, right? Like especially now, like to know you're not alone, right?
Yes.
To know that like you have allies, you have people that are creators, who are people who are just hungry for something that's meaningful. And if we can all agree to come on this one network, right, then we can do this together. And again, like it's easy, right? It's like it's an app. People download apps all the time, but this is a different type of movement, right? And with our suite of tools, you'll be able to do that. So if it's the Connect group that you want to join, or you want to create it, or you want to use it today and see the different types of curated content, or use the Ask Emissary to ask your questions. It's there for you. And so,
wonderful. So all of y'all watching right now, I want you to go out there, go to your phones, download Emissary4All, and then I want you to go find Jenn's group, Defending the Narrative. I'll also be joining as well. And Jenn is going to be sending us on missions, right, Jenn?
Yes, I'm starting. That is my thing, is to do a mission a day.
Awesome. I can't wait to join you on this.
Yes.
And then Aaron, what's next for Aaron Herman? I also understand you're a Jerusalem Post columnist as well too, right?
So I contribute to all different outlets. And so I started reviewmeplease.com 20 years ago to get into free movies, right?
So that's like, your claim to fame.
It You know, so I saw these like press people get. I was online like an idiot, like trying into free movies in New York. It's like this line, like, and I saw these press people trying to get in, and they got in for free. I'm like, how do I become that? So I created this thing called reviewmeplease.com, and I covered like not just Jewish stuff, like entertainment, and I get like funky things like this from like, you know, I do reviews. I'm like, here's my Hanukkah thing from Tipsy Elves a couple years ago. Right. Yeah. And so Jewish joy, Jewish awesomeness. And so I said, like, I understand content development, and I understand like being able to do that. So continuing to help share, you know, this importance of Jewish resilience and continuity. You know, of the common times of Israel, and different parts of, you know, I collaborate with different people. So, you know, but I say my heart and soul is an emissary. It really is. It's
wonderful. And I also want to point out your suit, because Aaron is the swag master general. All right.
Little dreidels right here.
Right, I love it.
Yes.
Like, tasteful, and pride. Yeah. So
exactly.
Before you go, I'm so sorry. We do have a question for you, Aaron.
Sure.
This is from Kazuza. She says, have you seen cases where overposting, repetitive patterns, or very uniform engagement trigger reduced distribution or soft suppression, even when nothing technically violates Instagram policy? I think this is a great
question. So the way that it works with the Emissary itself, it's all organic posting, right? So when you share your post, you can change. It's whatever you want. Like, we're not telling you what to hashtag. We can put it in, but when you do organicness, it's very hard. It goes against their business model, because it's all organic, right? And I know, Jennifer, you had some things when you were been shadow banned before, and we heard that from other people. Like, that's how Emissary could help, in a sense that, like, when you have your group of people, like, that's what social media is all about, right? The people. So if they're all doing it, they can't stop everyone, right? It doesn't work. And so it like the model that we have, it's understood that we have to be careful of that, but because it's all organic, we haven't seen any issues on our end, at least. And so when you have a chance,
too, by the way,
you go to, you know, again, it's Emissary4All. It's in the Apple and Google Play. But I just want to say thank you. Like, you inspire me. Like this is great, and truly, like, keep on going, because you gotta Yisrael Thrive. You just gotta.
Yes, exactly. Because thriving is our resistance. You know,
when you thrive, you win. And
exactly.
And I love the title, because it makes you happy, right?
Thank you. That was our entire joy, and it's also why we chose a sun for our.
I love it.
Yes,
I love it.
You know,
I love it.
It's a new day. Sunlight.
You have to.
Yes, and then we're all about thriving. We're all about living our best lives as the best revenge, which definitely is a Jewish value. Yes, and just being happy, because you know the haters hate it when we're happy. All right.
Exactly.
That's how we win.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much, Aaron, for coming on today.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure having you. Go check out Emissary4All. Go join Defending the Narrative on Emissary4All, and we'll talk to you later, Aaron. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I will be sending out a mission tomorrow. So that's going to be our first thing that we're going to be doing. Because, as I said, we need to start spreading some joy. And I think, you know, we have seen the pro-Palestine group be very organized, being very intentional. And I think now it's time we as a community need to step up and start organizing ourselves and working as a group. And I'm really hoping 100%. With this particular app, we can start doing that. And I'm really
I feel so much more empowered now that I know how to utilize it and all the different tools. And I had no clue that there was actually an AI feature in there.
This particular app. Yes.
So I think now it's the last night of Hanukkah. I know we lit our first it's the 7th night of Hanukkah. I'm sorry, not the 8th. We lit the first night's candles together. Would you like to light tonight's candles together?
Yes, I think it would be. I think it will be absolutely a pleasure to light these candles with you all on our last night of Hanukkah. And I am missing a candle. Where did it go? It fell.
And a little birdie told me that you now know the prayer pretty well now.
All right. Are we ready?
We're ready.
Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu movituta v'tivanu lahalik ner shel Hanukkah.
And I hope all of you out there also have a wonderful Hanukkah tonight as well. Remember that it's not just about the darkness.
This
and I
one
also want to
candle does not want to stay in.
It's always like that. You always got that wonky candle, you know? I also want to give a shout out to our Iranian viewers that tonight is Yelda as well too. It is the darkest night of the entire year as the solstice. And in Iranian Persian folklore, this is when, the light kind of breaks through and they stay up all night, eating foods that remind them of like the warm summer sun, like watermelon and pomegranates. And so I like the symbology that in Jewish tradition, we're having more lights and candles coming together, and other traditions also recognize that as well. And my candle does not want to stay lit.
Someone had just Kazuza wrote. Oh no, I did that. Kazuza just wrote, let's get pickled and lit. I am loving that. Let's get pickled. That's my new favorite thing. I'm going to be saying that now. Let's get pickled.
Yes, exactly. Well, I want to thank everyone for coming by and spreading your light with us. We are the light together, and they cannot get us down, all right, because we are on Yisrael, thriving together, all right?
Yes.
And if you would like to be featured on Yisrael Thrive, please reach out to either myself or Mrs. Hayes Styles. You can DM me. I'm Shayna _Netanya on Instagram. We'd love to have you on the show. And thank you for joining us today. And I hope all of you have a great week ahead, okay? Thank you so much.
And I want to wish everyone a happy Hanukkah again as well. And I want to say I had some people reach out. Oh God, I don't want to drop this. And they said, take one of these nights. Don't look at this. Take one of these nights and just watch the candles just burn for that hour and just really just sit with it and watch it. And I did. And I got to the last candle that was lit, and it just made me think of Matilda. And the same person had reached out to me and took a picture of their own menorah with the one last lit candle, and they said, this is for Matilda. So Matilda is with us. Matilda is, we're surrounded, and this is for her.
Definitely. She will always be forever young, forever beautiful, forever playing.
So, wishing everyone.
Thank you so much tonight, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your Hanukkah. Have a great Shavuot Tov.